I'm a little annoyed with you, to be perfectly honest. You set the bar way too goddamn high for parenting during quarantine. It was a fatherhood tour de force that you were putting on with your daughter, who is wildly talented, by the way. She's a special one, man. You got one on your hands that I think is going to go on to big things. But I mean, everyone else is just like drowning and trying to stay alive and like not kill their kids. And here you are with this funny, great series where you're a good dad and everyone loves it. You're a real son of a bitch.
Well, think of it like this. You know how on Sports Center they only show the highlights?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. That makes me feel a little better. All right. Good.
I like how you didn't say anything after that. You're just like,
yeah, we know
what I'm saying.
Those videos are 40 seconds. Our homeschooling sessions were about 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it really was a wild time, though. Like, for people who work and their childcare was not on the table anymore, and it was just like, I don't know, figure it out. You got to do all of it now. There's a lot of people who are really not. I mean, most of us are not prepared or ready to do that. And I mean, everybody just had to kind of figure out how to make ends meet, really.
Yeah, totally. And especially if you have multiple kids. Mm-hmm. Like, I was lucky in that we have a son, but we just let him off. He just, we let him off to do whatever. He'll be fine.
It honestly sounds like you have like 2 puppies and like one lives inside and one's an outside dog. We just let him roam, whatever.
Well, my son is almost 5. And my wife and I were very clear, look, there's going to be some real damage to him, but he's young enough that later on we can fix that. There's time to sort of Lily, who's 10 and in 4th grade, I think 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, specifically 3rd and 4th, are really tough grades because, you're sort of learning how to learn up to that point, and then they're giving you this material, and specifically in 4th grade, where it's like, all right, well, this is a transition year into 5th grade where the work is yours and there's not a lot of time to catch up.
Right.
And, Lily, God bless her, what a performer she is. Reading and math are not exactly there's like a really beautiful school down the street. Like you could walk to the school from our house. It's this beautiful private school, and it's like, it's known for being extraordinarily academic. And Lily knows, and we all talk about it. You're like, see that school? Get a good look. As close as you're getting.
That's it.
There's a theater school down the street. That one's great. This one
ain't happening.
Get a good look is unbelievable.
Take a picture, babe. That's as close as you're ever going to get.
Yeah, and she'll be like, why? I go, do you want to do 3.5 hours of homework? And she's like, no, get me to any other school.
That's like my dad went to Boston College, and I always wanted to go there when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And we'd go to football games and stuff like that. And by the time I hit like middle school, he was like, enjoy these games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're not going to be in the student section, dude.
So did you
I got waitlisted.
Oh, all right. No, not totally denied. All right, good man. So you got the dad's mission, which is kind of like putting this all together and teaching people, how to get through parenthood and fatherhood.
Yeah. The guys who created the initial product that we're launching, this dad's energy drink, which is great, had come to me and sort of pitched me this idea, and really early on, and I was like, this totally lines up with everything I'm trying to do and everything that you guys are trying to do, and it feels really organic. And so, what we're trying to do is create the first dad-centric, dad-based product line. Mm-hmm. And so much of our mission is to just create a community that supports dads and supports their involvement with their kids, and kind of just like gives all of us a place and a say and support in just like getting through this. And at this time specifically, I mean, that's really all I'm looking for.
It's funny how much of a lack there really is. Like when I was first having kids, as I was like preparing to be a dad.
How many kids do you have?
I got two. I have a 4-year-old daughter and an almost 3-year-old son.
Oh, amazing.
And I remember reading this book, no shade to the author, but it was called Dude, You're Gonna Be a Dad. And it was like, this is dad for guys, like dad for bros. And like, we're going to teach you. And I opened it up and it was like the least relatable and like just generic book ever. So I started a series of podcasts here called The Podfathers, which was like all the guys at Barstool who all had kids. At that point, there was only 3 of us. Now there's a few more. And we were the ones who were doing episodes that were like, dude, you should have seen last night. It was a shit show. I didn't know what I was doing. And, like the real deal, because I think sometimes people are a little afraid to say like how hard it is or how in over their head they are or whatever. And I think it's important to like be honest about it. Like it's awesome and it's rewarding, but at times it's fucking hard and it's crazy. And, being honest about it and presenting it in a way that guys like you, me, and everyone else can understand, I think is so important.
Yeah. And I think like, we were doing an interview the other day and they were like, so what kind of advice can you give us about being a dad? And I go, I wish someone would give me some advice. Right. I have no idea. And I think that's why like what we're doing is hopefully or feels important to me because it's just a support thing. Like it really is. We're just doing the best I can't tell you how many times I've looked at my kids and be like, I'm doing the best I can. I don't know. I just
and the women, moms have that motherly intuition, and
their engines are stronger.
Yeah, they just know, and it's inherent, and they also are just like smarter and work harder, and like everything about being a woman is better towards like taking care of kids.
I've never seen my wife do this. No.
Yep, 100%. They don't get frazzled. They like their gut usually tells them the right thing. I don't know. My gut tells me like you're having cookies for dinner tonight. I don't fucking know. I'm just making it up as we go.
Oh my God. The amount of times that I'm like, we'll stand in the kitchen and my daughter will come in and be like, hey Dad, can I have this? And I'll go, yeah, sure. And my wife will go, fuck you, what? No.
Can I ask you both a question then?
Yeah.
Huh? Can I ask you both a question? Why?
Why have kids?
Yeah, like sell me on it.
I can't.
Everyone is always like, I don't like. It's hard and it's awful. And like, I'm trying to budget. I'm trying to figure out what my budget could be if I move into a nicer apartment. I don't even, and it's hard for me. It's really hard. I don't know what I would do if like it's like, oh, by the way, you have another human you have to care for.
Are you married?
Let's
start there, man.
We got a long way to go.
Once you get married, you get convinced.
I'm not like pitching you to go to like, I think you should just go to Foot Locker today and pick up the new Jordans.
I would do that. That would be an easy pitch.
It is a hard thing though. Well, I don't know. I find that I don't often pick up the phone and call my buddies or tell a story on the podcast when it's like a good one. I'm rarely ever like, I had a really like sweet moment with my kids last night where we connected and it was fun. Cause I find the funnier stories and the better stories to be like when shit's going off the rails. So they always hear like the horrible things from me. But I thought what you did with Lily was great, where it was like, this is some really touching stuff. Like you're seeing the good side of it. And yeah, maybe it's at times it's funny or difficult or you're like frazzled. But for the most part, it was like, this is the good side of it.
Yeah, I mean, what we were trying to do is like we would take a moment from. Well, initially it started like I wasn't one of these people who was like, I'm going to put my kid front and center on my Instagram page, but it was so the idea of being her teacher and being thrust into this situation that none of us have seen before was so overwhelming and honestly scary. That I was like, this feels like what social media should be about, where you are isolated and alone and you have the ability to reach out to people through the internet and just be like, hey man, so this is happening. This is fucking weird and I'm real scared. Let's see how this goes. And then we got a huge reaction to it. And we were like, we should keep going. And then it sort of morphed into these videos where we would take like a funny moment that happened, during our sessions and then film it in a way. And she was so good at it. But they were all like based on these real moments, and then we would throw it up and just hope that people would relate to it, and they did overwhelmingly.
Was there any trepidation about putting? I know some parents are like, I don't put my kid, like you just said, I'm not going to put my kid on social media. Some people get like almost scared about it, especially being famous and in the spotlight. Was there any concern about like putting her out there, or was it all?
Yeah, totally, a little bit. And then there was also a part of me, like, she's old enough to where she knows what Instagram is, and she's like, she loves TikTok and is on all this stuff, and so she's
she's got to be the coolest kid at school right now. Right?
I mean, what is school anymore?
Well, not school. Yeah, the coolest kid on the block. I mean, she's Instagram famous.
I think for like 5 minutes, and then after that, she was like, "Nah, I don't care."
Yeah, beautiful. The innocence is so perfect.
Yeah, she really it does it every once in a while. Somebody be like, "Oh my god, I love your videos." She's like, "Oh yeah, those things."